Thank you, Eric.
All right, well, our next guest is the one that we probably get asked about the most, Brad. People want to know how she does what she does, and what she does is communicate with the dead.
It's a pretty cool talent, I would say. We recently asked her to show us how the process works, and now we welcome psychic and medium Jodi Livon with us. Nice to see you.
Okay, so this is really interesting because this is something we haven't done before. Basically, you went with a large group, one of our audiences after they were here for a live show, and you did this group reading with them, and we asked them some different questions. So our first one is, what do you see? So we want to check this out because I think this is going to be interesting, what a lot of people want to see. And let's take a look at how you explain what you're seeing during a reading.
She held things in. She's got angry, and she didn't express it. So she would turn, her face would literally turn red. Literally turn red. Think about somebody, maybe they didn't have that color hair when they crossed over, but as a child they had that. Straight hair, not a big person. She had sort of pockmarked face a little bit. Maybe she had acne when she was younger, and she's kicking something. She's here for somebody, you guys.
All right, so what can we take from that?
Well, that person was on the other side talking to me, and when somebody doesn't own it, it gets smaller and smaller. It's very important, even if it's scary to say, I think that might be my grandmother, or I'm embarrassed to say that might be my sister, because then the information gets bigger and it starts to sparkle and I can hear it better.
So when you say own it, it's basically giving you the yes, or even if it's not, just saying, no, that's not me, right?
Right.
So you want some sort of reaction.
Right, and people get afraid sometimes to say, I think that might be me.
Okay. So
sometimes people are afraid to even get the information, do you think? They don't want to hear sometimes what you have to tell them.
People hide from their truth a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do that in real life. No, I'm kidding.
Well, Jodi, the other thing is you say that when you're thinking of those who have passed, it can mean that their soul is with you at that exact moment. So that's really interesting. Let's take a look at this one.
But there's a grandma with a sweater, and she says she's yours, and she's got a very delicate sweater on, and she's talking about it, and she thinks she's petite.
Didn't I tell you this in the office today?
The reason you were talking about it in the office is because she was around you, because she knew you were going to sit your tuchus down here, even if you didn't know you were going to have time.
Oh, so I love this. So Elizabeth's talked about this before since then, that's saying that she does talk about it. So kind of explain what happened here.
So when I do a reading like this, I just go where the energy goes. And I saw this little sweater and this description, and I knew I was with her. And it was her grandmother, and her grandmother, I believe, knit her a sweater, had a sweater for her. But the thing was, Elizabeth was talking to her earlier because her grandmother was around her. And so she could sense her grandmother. A lot of times we keep talking about somebody, that's what happens. Or they crossed over, that was their anniversary, or it was their birthday.
And to be clear, you didn't talk to Elizabeth before that. That's not something that you knew.
No.
That was something that one of our producers was standing there, and she looked over at her and said,
yeah, she wasn't even going to be there.
Right, right.
Okay, so in this next clip, you don't get to choose, you tell us who actually comes through, and sometimes the person could be tied even to a tragedy, right? All right, let's take a look at that clip.
So there's this person that's on the other side right now that wants you to know she's not there because of anything anybody did. And nothing you did. They lost somebody, and it was tragically. We always have regrets, but when people die and there's a tragedy involved in it, and I'm not saying exactly what it is because I'm guarding your privacy, but if you want, if you
Don't say it.
She took her life.
Yeah.
She took her life.
How hard is it to talk to people in those kinds of instances?
Well, as you could tell, I was trying not to cry myself. It's very difficult, but this man was in complete turmoil, thinking he had something to do with it because he didn't stop by the house that day. It has nothing to do with it, and the people on the other side want us to know that. They made their own decision when they died, how they died in some respects, especially something like that.
So at the end, you want them to walk away feeling better?
I want them to have some resolution inside of them. Yeah, some closure and some personal power to know their person's really okay.
And there's probably some validation at the end as well, as you saw that, you know, his wife sitting next to him was tearing up and instantly knew that you hit it on the, you know, nail on the head.
Well, and then I get the chills or the shivers when that kind of thing happens, and I know I'm on.
Okay, so we also have another one. Sometimes that more than one spirit is trying to communicate with someone in the room. I think this one's pretty interesting. Take a look.
Did you have a girlfriend that had an extra large mouth?
In a sense.
I got grandma who's backing off. I've got the knowledge about your heart that I'm supposed to tell you but not scare you with, and the lady with the bigger mouth is pushing it. Okay? What about her and this right through here and the breathing?
Yeah, well, my girlfriend Diane, she was loud and outspoken and all, and she actually died well, I mean, in the end, it was, you know, from heart issues. She ended up having a heart attack.
She's talking to me about you checking your heart. She is talking about a heart. She's talking about feeling like somebody hit her in the head, and she's talking about her boundary issues. That she would put her opinion and what she thought out a lot. And it wasn't mean, but she really felt things in a big way. She reminds me of a cartoon. She reminds me of a cartoon.
Yeah.
She has a lot to say.
Wow, Jodi. That's an interesting one, too.
Well, I saw the cartoon. That's how I knew. And they painted a picture. My guides painted a picture of a really big mouth, which means either physically she had a big mouth or she was just talked a lot and had something to say.
Interesting. Thank you so